The Great Barrier Reef is home to not just vibrant marine life, but also one of the world's largest shipwreck graveyards. Sunken beneath these crystal-clear waters are the remains of over 8,000 ships, many of which hold untold treasures. Among these wrecks are Dutch ships from the 17th century, lost in their quest to explore and exploit new lands. But not all was smooth sailing. Storms, dangerous reefs, and pirate attacks have left these vessels at the bottom of the ocean, including a ship that vanished in 1863 with 60,000 ounces of gold. Are we about to uncover this long-lost treasure? The vast coastline of Australia has earned a reputation as one of the most treacherous in the world. For centuries, explorers, traders, and colonizers attempted to navigate these waters, with many never making it back. Over 8,000 ships have been claimed by Australia's dangerous reefs and storms, including many off the shores of the Great Barrier Reef. It's not just a place of unparalleled natural beauty, it's a shipwreck graveyard with some of the world's most tantalizing underwater mysteries. The Dutch were among the first to experience the peril of these waters. The East India Company sent ships laden with valuable cargo to chart new routes between Europe and the East Indies. In 1606, Dutch explorer Willem Janszoon became the first European to set foot on Australian soil. However, the bones of many Dutch treasure ships that followed now rest along the west coast of Australia, a testament to the dangers that lurk beneath these waters. 7 Dutch ships bound for Batavia, modern-day Jakarta, lie scattered across the west coast, but it's the untamed waters of the Great Barrier Reef that have claimed the most ships. Without accurate maps or navigation tools, explorers often found themselves lost in the labyrinth of coral, where one wrong move meant a swift end to their journey. From the early 17th century to the mid-19th century, storms and violent cyclones battered ships that ventured too close to the Australian shore. The unknown East Coast wasn't even explored until 1770, when Captain Cook ventured into these perilous waters. His journey, though successful, highlighted the dangers of the reef and marked the beginning of a new era of exploration and shipwrecks. Of all the ships claimed by the treacherous waters of Australia, none have captured the imagination quite like the ill-fated Madagascar. Built in 1837 as the second of the Black Wall frigates, the Madagascar was a formidable vessel constructed at the famous Blackwall Yard in London, co-owned by the Green and Wigram families. She was no ordinary merchant ship. This vessel carried freight, passengers, and troops between England and India for 16 years. But her final voyage would seal her fate as one of the greatest maritime mysteries in history. The Madagascar was not just another ship. It was a vessel of prestige and importance, overseen by some of the most prominent families in shipping. Even its first master, Captain William Harrison Walker, held a personal stake in her, owning an 1/8 share throughout its career. The ship often carried midshipmen, young boys training to become officers for the merchant marines, their futures tied to the ship as they learned the ways of the sea. Parents paid for their sons' education aboard the Madagascar, a promising investment for their children's future careers. Who would have guessed that such a well-regarded ship would become the center of a haunting mystery? In March of 1853, under the command of Captain Fortescue William Harris, Madagascar set sail for Melbourne, Australia. The Victorian gold rush was at its peak, and ships like the Madagascar were in high demand to ferry emigrants and their fortunes between continents. Upon reaching Melbourne on June 10th, after 87 days at sea, the ship faced its first complication. 14 of her crew deserted in pursuit of gold, a common temptation during this frenzied era. With only a few replacements signed on, Madagascar continued its preparations for the return voyage to London, its cargo now holding not just wool or rice, but nearly 2 tons of gold, valued at £240,000 in Victorian times and around $40 million today. But the gold was not the only thing of note about the Madagascar. As the ship prepared to depart on August 10th, the local police boarded and arrested a notorious bushranger named James Francis, responsible for robbing the Melbourne private escort just 3 weeks earlier. This dramatic incident delayed the ship's departure by 2 days, but finally, on August 12, 1853, Madagascar sailed out of Port Phillip Heads. And then, nothing. The Madagascar disappeared into the vast expanse of the ocean, never to be seen again. A ship laden with gold, 110 passengers, and a sizable crew vanished without a trace, leaving behind a legacy of rumors, speculation, and intrigue that endures to this day. Theories about the Madagascar's disappearance abound. Did the ship hit an iceberg in the chilly southern waters, as some suggested? Could a fire, sparked by the volatile wool cargo, have consumed the ship in flames? Or did something more sinister happen? A mutiny, perhaps, where criminal elements among the passengers or crew seized control, slaughtering everyone on board and scuttling the ship to steal the fortune in gold. The most controversial theory suggests a violent plot. Many believe that some of the passengers, perhaps with the help of a few crew members, planned to hijack the Madagascar, kill everyone on board, and make off with the gold. The ship would have been deliberately sunk after the treasure was taken, leaving no survivors and no evidence of the crime. This theory has captured the public's imagination for decades, inspiring treasure hunters to comb the waters, hoping to find clues to the whereabouts of the lost ship and its fortune. But as vast as the Great Barrier Reef is, pinpointing the exact location of the Madagascar remains a daunting task. The reef spans over 2,300 kilometers, and its waters hide countless wrecks, each holding its own secrets. The sheer number of shipwrecks makes searching for the Madagascar feel like finding a needle in an underwater haystack. And yet, for treasure hunters, the allure of the Madagascar's lost riches is irresistible. Treasure seekers have scoured the seas around the reef for decades, drawn by the promise of the 60,000 ounces of gold that disappeared along with the ship. Every wreck that's been found raises the same tantalizing question: could this be it? Could this be the final resting place of Madagascar and its long-lost fortune? We begin our dive at Ferguson Reef, an area infamous for its wrecks. With over 70 ships confirmed to have gone down here, it's a hotbed for underwater explorers. The waters are murky, with visibility barely extending beyond a few meters. As we descend into the depths, a sense of anticipation builds. What secrets lie beneath the coral? Suddenly, the outline of a massive wooden structure appears before us. Its once mighty timbers are now encrusted with coral, and scattered debris litters the seafloor. We find an iron cannon lying half buried in the sand, its surface pitted by centuries of exposure to the sea. This was a ship of over 100 tons, able to carry valuable cargo across the dangerous waters. But today, all that remains are fragments. Among the debris, we discover a brass ring from the ship's wheel, pottery shards, and even the remnants of a glass skylight. Every artifact tells a story of hope, ambition, and ultimate failure. The ship's final resting place is far from the glory it was meant for. But as we continue to explore, there's no sign of the fabled gold. Though this wreck is massive, it's not the Madagascar. The search continues and we leave this site behind, eager to explore the next wreck that might hold the lost treasure of Australia. Our next stop brings us to Bathurst Bay, a place with a haunting history. In 1899, a catastrophic cyclone swept through this area, claiming over 70 ships and taking the lives of 300 people. It was one of the worst maritime disasters in Australian history. Ships anchored in the bay were no match for the 12-meter high tidal surge, the highest ever recorded in Australia. Pearl luggers, small boats used to gather precious pearls from the sea, were torn apart and sent to the bottom of the ocean. Today, the remains of these pearl luggers lie scattered across the seafloor, serving as a chilling reminder of nature's power. As we dive, we come across axes, knives, and tools once used by the pearl divers, now covered in coral and algae. These relics were the very lifeblood of those who ventured into these dangerous waters, hoping to make a fortune from the sea's bounty. Nearby, we find larger ships, once tall and proud, now reduced to broken timbers and rusted iron. Their masts have long since disintegrated, and their hulls lie cracked open, filled with sand and coral. The 1899 cyclone left a path of destruction in its wake, and even today, the effects can be seen. But despite the devastation, there is no sign of treasure. This area has been thoroughly searched over the years, and while we uncover relics of the past, the motherlode of gold we seek remains elusive. Our journey takes us to another legendary wreck site, the location where the Fatima, a ship rumored to be carrying 18,600 ounces of gold, went down. The ship met its fate on Ferguson Reef in 1853, and treasure hunters have been searching for it ever since. As we dive into the waters of Ferguson Reef, we're greeted by an eerie sight, a vast expanse of coral, broken timbers, and iron chains that stretch across the seafloor. The wreckage is immense, and it's clear that this was once a powerful vessel. Among the debris, we find lead lines, tools used to measure the depth of the water. These tools tell a story of desperation, as the crew likely tried in vain to navigate through the treacherous waters before disaster struck. Among the wreckage, we uncover an assay cup, a small vessel used to test the quality of precious metals. Nearby, we find a crucible, once used to melt gold and silver. Could this be the wreck of the Fatima? The signs are there, but without the treasure itself, we can't be sure. The cargo may have been swept away by the tides, or it could be buried deep beneath the layers of coral. We continue our search, scouring the wreckage for any signs of gold. But after hours of searching, it becomes clear that the treasure is not here. The gold may still lie hidden, waiting for the right person to uncover it. Our final stop takes us to Great Detached Reef, a remote and dangerous part of the reef that has claimed multiple ships over the centuries. Among the wrecks is a ship known as the Sun, rumored to have carried 30,000 to 40,000 Spanish silver coins when it went down. This ship represents one of the last great mysteries of the reef. As we dive into the waters, the outline of the wreck appears below to us. The ship's anchor chain stretches across the seabed, leading us to a massive pile of ballast stones. The wreck is overgrown with coral, but we're determined to find the coins that are rumored to be hidden here. We scour the area, our eyes constantly searching for the glint of silver. We find the remnants of the ship's cargo, a lead line, fragments of pottery, and even a small bronze cannon. But there's no sign of the coins. The wreck has been thoroughly searched over the years, and it seems likely that any treasure that once was here has been lost to time or stolen by previous explorers. Despite the disappointment, the thrill of the hunt remains. We've uncovered relics from the past and brought new life to the stories of these lost ships. But as we leave the Great Detached Reef, a true treasure, the one we've been searching for, remains elusive. If you enjoyed this journey into the depths of the reef, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the lost treasure, and hit the notification bell to join us on our next adventure. And we'll see you next time.